Hi, this is Kate from dailytarotworld.com, and today I want to show you my special Halloween tarot spread. So this spread uses 6 tarot cards, and for this demonstration I'm going to be using the Anna K Tarot. So I find that Halloween for me is kind of like New Year's. It's a time for me to kind of check in with myself and sort of reflect over the, past several months, and then kind of check in with, my goals and, where I want to go. And I find I do this more around Halloween than I do at New Year's. So I find like Halloween is a nice kind of New Year's time. And so I've designed this spread to help you basically do just that. And I've given the card positions kind of cheesy, sort of fun Halloween names, which I hope you'll like. Okay, so I'm gonna dive right into showing you the spread. And as I'm telling you about the spread, I'm gonna be doing a demonstration reading, which is just for fun, but you might find that particular cards really apply to you right now. Okay, so the first card, card number 1 that I'm going to turn over, I'm going to start with this card, and I call this position the costume. So this is what you want to become this year. So over the next few months, what role do you want to play? What kind of person do you want to be? And this card can show maybe even sort of unconscious desires that you weren't even really aware of, but this card is going to in some way reflect the kind of person that you really want to become this year. So I've got the Knight of Rods. Now the Knight of Rods, or the Knight of Wands, as he would be called in a Rider-Waite deck, the Knight of Rods is very much an adventurer, and he's all about action. He's a man of action. He's about taking action on his goals and following his passions and doing things that really light him up and really excite him. And he's an adventurer. He's not afraid to charge forward, and he's not afraid to take risks and go on adventures. So this could be the kind of person that you're really wanting to become this year. You might want to be more of a risk taker. You might want to be more adventurous, and you might want to be more kind of action oriented when it comes to achieving your goals and doing what you really want to do. Okay, so the second card represents, or the second card I call this card Possessed. So this card represents what is possessing you. In other words, what will drive and inspire you over the next few months. Possessed just makes it sound more Halloween-y. And here we've got the Ace of Pentacles. So this card is showing you what's inspiring, what's going to be inspiring you and giving you energy this year. And so we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Now, with any tarot card in any reading, you can choose to read it in a very literal sense, or you can choose to read it more symbolically or metaphorically, or you can do both. So if I were to interpret this card in the literal sense, here we see a woman, and she's just dug a huge hole in the ground. So she could be gardening. She's got her shovel, but she's got a bunch of treasure there, and it's not clear if she's actually burying the treasure or if she's just discovered the treasure when she was gardening. So in the literal sense, this could signify that gardening and getting your hands dirty and getting outside and doing things with the earth is what is going to really inspire you and drive you and give you energy this year. But if I were to interpret this card more symbolically, I could say that this is about discovering buried treasure. So it could mean, discovering gifts within yourself that you didn't know you had. And of course, the Ace of Pentacles is all about new beginnings and starting fresh in some area of life. So that's what's going to be driving us this year, is that starting fresh on a new path and discovering some of those inner talents that we have. And then the third card I call this card the candy card, and this card gives you the key as to how you can get more sweetness and joy in your life. Okay, so I've got the Four of Swords, and it's always interesting when you get kind of a more somber card in a really positive position. I find that really fun and kind of challenging. So as you can see here, with the Four of Swords, in the Anna K Tarot, in other decks sometimes it shows someone meditating, but in the Anna K Tarot it actually shows someone who's ill and is being comforted and taken care of by another person. So I see this card in a couple different ways. This shows us that in order to have more sweetness in our life, we're going to need to take time out every now and then and rest. And this is interesting when it comes, close to the Knight of Rods, which is all about action and, moving forward. And then we've got the exact opposite, which is about kind of retreat and not going anywhere, not doing anything, and just kind of taking care of ourselves or letting someone take care of us. So this is about sort of achieving that kind of balance. And you're not going to be able to enjoy the achievement of goals and adventure if you don't have enough adequate rest to recuperate. And another way you could interpret this card is, well, my attention is drawn to the woman who's taking care of the sick person. So it could mean that sweetness and joy will come from helping other people and taking care of others. Not necessarily being a caretaker and doing it all the time, but taking, time in your life to be nurturing and supportive of others is something that's going to bring you a lot of sweetness. Okay, so now we're going to move to the bottom row. Now the bottom row, the top row was more sort of light and fun. The bottom row is sort of the more darker subject matter. So we're going to start with this card, which I call the Haunted card. So this card represents ghosts from the past that are still haunting you. Okay, and I've got the Four of Rods. And again, this is interesting here that you would expect a negative card to come up here, and now we have a positive card. So the Four of Rods, especially this card, when I look at it, there's a group of people, and it seems like they're very much a team. There's that sense of camaraderie with them. They're going off on an adventure or a hike or something. And there's that sense, when I look at this card, I feel a real sense of belonging and being part of a group, being part of a family or a team, and that sense of belonging and intimacy and fun that you have with that. So how could this be a ghost from the past? And how I'm going to choose to interpret this card in this position, especially for me in my own life, I feel like that's something that haunts me, that past memory of being part of a group and being accepted, being part of a team. And it's something I don't have in my life right now because I work on my own and I'm pretty much kind of a solitary individual. And so that's something that's really missing in my life, is that feeling of being part of a group. And so that is something that haunts me, not in a negative way, but with that, that distant memory of what that felt like. It kind of, it pops into my head every now and then, and I remember how I kind of missed that. Okay, so then we're going to move on to the next card, and this card represents, I call this the rest in peace card, or the gravestone or the headstone card. And this card gives you the insight, or the key as to how you can banish these ghosts from the past for good. Now, obviously, I didn't get like a really negative card here, so I'm not looking to totally banish this memory, but I might be looking as to how I can maybe make some little changes or tweaks in my life right now, so that I bring more of this into my life, so I don't feel haunted by it, if that makes sense. Okay, so we've got the Sun, and the Sun, maybe I'll turn it kind of upright a little more. The Sun, for me, I mean, obviously it's a very positive card. It's a happy card. There's warmth and glow there. But ultimately, it's about illumination and shining a light on things. And when there's things in our life that we don't really understand, or things that we've maybe shelved away or repressed, when we shine a light on those things and bring them to the surface, it totally, the mystery and the darkness around them really evaporate. So to interpret this as being how I can banish, how can I banish the ghosts from the past of the Four of Rods? I think simply to shine a light and be more aware of maybe what's going on. But also I think this card is kind of asking you or me, whoever this reading is applying to sort of be the sun. So to be that illumination in your life, be that warm, sort of glowing individual. And that's going to help you not only attract what you want, but also sort of evaporate maybe the emptiness and the sadness that comes up from having that memory of once being part of a team and now just kind of being on your own. Okay, so moving on to the last card, I call this card Monsters and Goblins. So this represents fears and negative habits that you are ready to let go of. Okay, and we've got the Ten of Pentacles. So once again, interesting to get a positive card in kind of a negative position. So the Ten of Pentacles, for me, symbolizes family, community, being part of a community. So it's kind of funny that it's come up, especially when I said this is a ghost from the past, and then we have kind of a similar card or a similar meaning coming up as the negative or the fears that I want to get rid of. So Ten of Pentacles is about, stability, security, family, being part of something, being very stable, being grounded. And because it's the Suit of Pentacles, it's all about survival. So this is kind of the ultimate card of survival. You're thriving. Things are going really well. So how could I interpret this as a negative habit or a fear? So one way I could look at this as actually a fear of maybe intimacy and some of the expectations and demands that everyone has on them when they are part of a family, or if they're in a relationship or part of a group. There is going to be naturally a lack of freedom there. It's very hard to be completely free and to have be part of a group and be part of a community and a family. So that could be a fear, is losing some freedom in being a part of a community or a group, which certainly makes sense for me. I think there's another way I could read this. In terms of negative habits, that's another tricky one. So how would the Ten of Pentacles represent a negative habit that you'd be ready to overcome? So again, going back to maybe a negative aspect of being part of a close-knit family or community is that there's typically, you might feel like there are certain expectations put on you and that you have to play a certain role. Like if you look at the mother in the card, or the father, or I think these are grandparents or something, everyone kind of has a role. And when you're in a role, you're very aware that there's maybe certain expectations of how you should behave or what you should do or how you should feel. And then if you don't do those things, it can be awkward. So other people might be angry, or you might just feel really guilty or beat yourself up about not, living up to your expectations. So that could be a negative habit that many of us are ready to overcome, is that that habit of putting a lot of pressure on ourselves when we're in a family and going along with expectations. So that might be a challenge that we're ready to kind of take on. Okay, so that has been my special Halloween spread. And as you can see, it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into, what direction you want to go in this year and the things that you're willing to either let go of or work through and challenge. So I hope you've found this spread to be illuminating and fun and helpful. And if you want to see the written version of this spread, if you want to kind of print it out and keep it in your tarot journal, you can check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com, and I'm going to post the link to that page on my site where I have the spread written out. It will be a pop-up in this video, and I'm also going to put it in the description below. So once again, my name is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and thank you so much for watching, and have a happy Halloween.